What is up, Internet? My name is Brando, and welcome to another episode of Underrated and Overrated, where me and my wonderful friends... Why are you staring at me like that?
Just staring.
Where we go ahead and rate and judge things in Nerd Kingdom and beyond. And so, joining me today, on my right, Mr. You want to go by Zang or you want Rob?
Yeah, Zang's good.
Yes,
Zang.
Daddy.
Okay, my boy Zang. Joining me again, Mr. Plural.
Hello there.
It's me.
And my boy Mezza. Damn, bro.
That's it. That's all you're getting. I gotta conserve, bro. I gotta conserve.
All the energy is just inside. All right, word. All right. Well, so today we're gonna be talking about and going through a genre of video games that is near and dear to all of our hearts, and I'm sure a ton of you guys as well. Fighting games. So the rules are simple. I'm gonna whip out my list, which I should have had ready already. I'm just gonna say a game in particular. I'll go down the line. We'll start with Rob. Yes, I go. We'll go ahead and just get started jumping right away. We'll start with you, go down the line. And so the first one we're going to go ahead with is Super Smash Bros. Melee. Rob, what do you think?
I want to say a little overrated.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know the Smash community
Hot
loves that game.
Okay.
And I played all the Smash Brothers. I like them and all.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing about the Smash games is it's just very different than most fighting games, or that some people don't even consider it a fighting game. I consider it a fighting game.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's been around forever.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
years.
people are like, it's not evil anymore, what the hell? Blah, blah. It's like,
That's the politics of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, guys, learn some new games. Like, stop playing with those big ass
This is like
old TVs.
This is like a personal vendetta.
No. I don't hate the Smash community or hate the game. I just think it's like, yo, man, new games come out, you
Fair
learn
enough.
them. And then they got the new Smash, and it's like, yo, you guys got a brand new Smash with everyone. Like, just get into that. Like,
Fair.
like being one of those like Melee guys. I only play Melee. It's like being like, I only play StarCraft 1 forever for the rest of my life. And it's like move on just a little bit. Like,
We know
you had
a couple
your
guys
time,
like
and
that. Yeah.
yeah, good game and all, but like, move on.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
For me, it's... I struggle to say underrated because it is so popular.
Mm-hmm.
It's very personal. Like, I love that game. Like, I really like it from like a childhood perspective. It wasn't that competitive though, so I don't like to go in the middle, but we'll go like properly rated, like balanced rating for me personally.
I feel, for me, that game's a little overrated. Just because, kind of similar to what Zhang was saying, it's just how heavy the fans are in that game, in the sense that that's the only game that exists to them.
It definitely, you guys are right, both of you, were like the fans of Smash Bros. Radiate like an aura around the game.
Yeah, I think, I delved into it pretty deep. Like, I learned all the mechanics and stuff like that, and some of the crazy stuff like that. And the tech that exists in that game can really be compared to a lot of other fighting games.
Oh, it's very high technical.
But for me, I feel it's a little overrated in the sense that there's just other things that, I feel like it's not the end-all be-all kind of game.
Fair.
Yeah.
Mezza.
Weirdly enough, I actually found it pretty balanced.
Okay,
I played it
right
throughout the course of my lifetime. I've always gone back to play Melee, even with friends, even with people who don't know how to play it.
Yeah.
It's just like this one little like clump of like, I look at it like Third Strike, right?
Yeah.
It's something you're always going to go back to, something you're always willing to watch, even if you don't think you want to watch it. So I don't know. I love the essence of it. It's something that's old school. It's something I can always jump into. And even if I'm bad at it, I'm like, oh, that was fun. And I will state, they no longer play on CRTs. They do actually, they've made it HD, translation to that.
Okay.
So now they can play on regular
Welcome to the
monitors
future,
like
guys.
us. So, but yeah, no, it's, to me, I think it's balanced. I know a lot of people would say overrated just because there is a lot of people who do push, you must play Melee, you must play Melee. I think those are different categories.
Yeah, they're different human beings.
Just overall, like if somebody was like, hey, I have Super Smash Brothers Melee, I'd never really jumped into like Ultimate, and you're like, oh, you only have a GameCube? Alright, bet. Alright, I'll play.
You only have
So
a
that's-
GameCube in 2021? Like,
Yeah.
Yo, there's some people who still only play like on an Xbox, not one, but the original one.
I mean,
So, yeah, no, I think it's pretty balanced for a fighting game. Party game turned fighting game.
in my head, I was imagining like a kid in a third world who like just got the Xbox
Oh, man.
this year.
Could you imagine how happy he would be?
I,
I can't wait to play the Xbox One. It's light years away to him.
God damn. All right. Well, we got a lot out of that. All right.
Cut and eggs. And I'll be right back.
And then the new series of
Yeah.
Xboxes, it can be played on too.
All right. The newest Killer Instinct, Rob. Go ahead.
The newest Killer Instinct. I actually think it's underrated.
Perfect. Okay. Did you play it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the problem with it is it didn't come out on the PlayStation, and that's the rough thing.
Sony
because
boy.
So Sony just they made a genius move of taking Street Fighter. Then all the tournaments had to have PlayStation because you had you
Yeah,
you
the
need
majority
Street
of
Fighter
games.
exactly. And then so because of that, fighting games are now for tournaments anyway are played on PlayStation. And then so when it came to that whole, am I buying a PlayStation or am I buying an Xbox? If you're a serious fighting game player, you probably bought a PlayStation. And then so, most of us aren't going to buy both systems just for exactly.
Yeah.
But I heard it's a great game.
So you would say, well, like, you said,
I think it would definitely be bigger if it
Yeah,
also
yeah.
came out on the PlayStation.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know it's a good game. It's a really good game.
Mhm.
But, just most people bought PlayStation
That's a
for
fair.
fighting games. And,
Yeah.
that's kind of rough. Like, I think it would have done
Mhm.
better than it did.
Yeah, that's pretty poignant. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I like that. I would say probably the same. It's a game I haven't explored too much, like not one that I played a whole lot, but I've had fun playing for certain, and I definitely see the depth in it. So I'll go ahead and say underrated as well, mostly for the reasons that you said, Rob. Like I feel like circumstance keeps a lot of people from playing that game as frequently as maybe some of the other fighting games in the circle that we'll go through, but it definitely seems like it has enough potential, like to be more than it is recognized.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. I feel like underrated is the way to go with that game because, like, that game also, ignoring everything we said, it also has really good netcode. It's one of the games up there with, like, the netcode is, like, it's one of the
I've heard
best
that too.
netcode
Yeah.
games. And, like you said, the game has a lot of depth with, like, combo breakers and counter breakers and the whole dynamic with that. So it has a lot of mix-ups just in general of its design. And the cast is pretty vast at this point. There were a lot of DLC
chunky
characters in that game. So there's a lot you could work with in that game. And they made it pretty interesting, honestly.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm 100% underrated, and this is coming from a commentator's perspective. It is a visually outstanding game that most don't even get to. At the same time, it is underrated due to the fact that their PC release was too late. Especially because that plays that's crossplay.
Yeah.
So you have a game that's aesthetically, it looks beautiful, and I've even gotten a chance to talk with Iron Galaxy's people, and they have put so much thought and process into it that it just flopped just due to the fact that it was just too late with all the games. Kind of like what Rob said, is there's just everything's on Sony, everything's on console. It depends what console you're on. So yeah, overall I think it's underrated just due to the fact that they have such a good community too. It's really easy to get into. The game has transitioned from its old version to the new version very phenomenally compared to most games.
Okay. You guys have been very thoughtful today. But it also tells me there's no way my 3 pages of fighting games we're going to get through in a fast span of time. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out. No. I'm not telling you to be fast. These answers are fantastic. So I'm just letting you know, for myself, note to self, no fucking way. We'll go reverse. Meza, you start this one.
Okay.
From the Dreamcast, Power Stone.
Oh man, that's hard for me to say anything but overrated.
Wow.
And it's in a good way.
F you, bro.
No. Overrated in a good way. And I don't know if there's any way you could say it's in a good way.
Yeah.
I say it because it is something that everyone will always play. Everybody will always want more. They're always like, hey, when's the next one? Guess what? It doesn't matter. We're still playing this one. And it's just, you don't have to make another one to know how overrated this game is. Let's be honest here.
Okay.
This game is never going to stop being overrated. When is the last time you heard somebody say, man, Power Stone sucks?
Yeah.
Never.
Exactly. I rest my case
Because
there.
I killed those people. I ended their lives.
But yeah.
I feel like I'm looking at it from a different perspective of you. I feel like that game, I'm going to say, is underrated. Just because I love that game. I do love that game. And I feel like you're saying, it's not talked about enough. And there were 2 of them. But we seem to forget that a lot, I feel.
Yeah, no, I've played Power Stone 2 a lot.
And I like the second one because they had transitions and stuff like
and
that.
4 players.
And it was 4
true.
players. And I feel like you could utilize the environment in a way that made every stage kind of fun. And then it's one of those I guess it's party/fighting games. I don't know how I'd classify it.
The one-on-one. That's what makes it overrated. The one-on-one.
Sure.
Being able to combat like a fighting game.
I feel like it deserves more praise than it gets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
He's like, I don't even have.
Yeah, I'm very fond of that game. When I started playing like just games in general, I was like when I was young, I played a lot of Dreamcast. I never owned one, but a lot of my friends did. So like when I went over friends, a lot of them had Power Stone, so it was like an opportunity to play like a very fun, colorful game. So as a child, it just I don't know, it very clicked with me, and I really like. But coming back to it as an adult, I'm like, man, this game has like a little bit of depth, but not that much, I don't think.
Okay, I don't know.
But it's still overall just still a very timeless experience for me. So I feel like I couldn't not underrate it.
Perfect.
So,
Okay.
and Rob.
Yeah, I feel like it's underrated too.
Perfect.
That game has just really good fond memories.
Yeah.
The first one and the second one, it's just such a different game. And dude, yeah, the environment, like you could use everything in the environment. And like, yeah, it did make stages like so much more interesting because you knew which stage you're getting, and you're like, oh, in this stage I can do this, and that stage I can do that.
Dude, there's one stage you're like falling from an airplane, and you're literally falling down into the stage. Like, it's super cool.
If a third Power Stone ever came out, that's not even a question. It's an instant buy. Like, you order Deluxe Edition, I don't even care what it comes with. Like, Deluxe Edition $8, I'm already getting it. I wouldn't even look at what's coming with it. It's just, I'm buying it immediately.
There we go.
Yeah, it's an amazing game, and yeah, if we downloaded the first or the second one, and had a party night where we played it again, I would totally be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, on the list.
There we go. Okay. All right. Moving on.
Added
Okay.
mental note.
Yeah. Power Stone 3. If.
Or if we just want to download the first one again.
Yeah.
I would totally play again.
Zang. Shit, lost my place. There's so many.
Fourth one,
It's a chunky list.
Okay.
Let's go with Dive Kick.
Interesting.
So, I feel like it's a fine game for what it is. I want to say maybe a little overrated. Like, I remember when it first came out, it like blew up.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole point of that game was to just teach people spacing, and it did a really good job of like
That's all it is.
just teach. And pretty much you could do this with any fighting game. Just be like, okay, we can only use dive kicks, and that's it. But I think it's just because it simplified that whole perspective into just one thing.
Yeah.
It just made it an interesting like little meta. And then you could do the same thing outside of dive kick with you could make a game like called Footsies where like we both pick Ryu and you oh yeah, that is a game. yeah, it's just like that where it's like we're just going to, instead of having all these different little meta games within a game, we're just going to focus on, and we can do a game where you can only use Ryu and you can only use crouch, medium kick, and throw, and forward dash, and walking back and forth. And then that would be this whole mental game of like trying to make someone whiff their crouch, medium kick, and then you whiff punish it, or they whiff it and then you forward dash and throw them. And I think it's a good game for just teaching people like that one perspective of the game. I think that's great. People are like crazy about it. I was like, all right, guys, it's more of a tool game than
Yeah, for me, it's probably the same vein. It's probably overrated in my opinion. It's like fun, novel. Not gonna play it for more than like once in a blue moon. But it does have like its value, like you're saying. Like for certain. I remember, I think it was like who's the fighting game guy? Avermedia, I think. I forget what's his name.
Are you talking about Seth Killian?
No, don't worry about it. But there's a fighting game YouTuber, and he talks about how to teach his friends footsies, like they do matches with just sweeps. So like, it's kind of like that, like you're saying. Like you limit the game to like one perspective, and it's fun and it's novel for a little bit. But for like,
you're not gonna play it forever.
No, you can't. So,
yeah.
Plural?
Right. I think that game is overrated. I do agree with you guys. But like I feel like half of that game is for like the meme factor.
Oh,
like,
sure.
It's made because it's made by FGC guys, and like there's a bunch of clearly FGC characters in that people, not just characters in that game, which makes it kind of entertaining. And also like the whole dynamic where when you're getting bodied, what does it say? It's something alert. It's
fraud,
like fraud alert.
Fraud
it says fraud alert if someone's getting bodied.
I kind of want to body something.
So, and I think that's really funny. But I think it's a really fun game. Like Zhang said, it definitely teaches you. It teaches you things that you don't think about. Like I feel like footsies is very, people know what footsies are, but like dive kick spacing is very awkward, and especially how many different types of dive kicks there are. So I think it's very. I think they did a really good job with it, and I think it was. I played it a little bit. I think it's pretty fun. But,
I think it's. I wouldn't say like super overrated. I would say a little bit overrated due to the fact that us being in the fighting game community is kind of driven that way. So we see everybody's like, oh, super excited, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like for a casual player, this is not something that's like, oh my god, yeah, this is the hottest thing out. You guys got to definitely play it, this and that. I think it's something that's just a tool.
Yeah.
So obviously when people say overrated, it's going to be something like, I look at like that, footsies, like those are games that are very overrated because you're going to want to do those things. You want people to learn it. So I don't know. I just kind of like what Matt said. I really love the aspect of just like it just being a funny meme factor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, this game is hella overrated.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it. Like I would tell people to just play it just because.
All right, I'm gonna machine gun a few of these out.
Okay.
Just because I want to get through some of the numbers. So just very quickly, you can quip on it too if you want to be like, it looks stupid or whatever. But I'm gonna go through a bunch real quickly. So, Rob, Soul Calibur 2.
2. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh man, that's hard.
Ooh.
I want to say underrated.
Perfect.
Soul Calibur 2 was really,
Still.
it was a good, solid time.
Yeah, me too. I'll probably go the same, underrated. I think that
Perfect.
it's still pretty. I think it holds up, which is why I think it's underrated. Obviously, it's still because. I won't say more than that.
Okay.
But I think,
I'm just gonna say, I would agree with you. It's definitely an underrated game.
Perfect.
There is more to that game than people realize.
Yeah.
If you don't know what 2G is, and if you do know what 2G is, then you'd understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So basically, there's way more to that game than people realize, and it's very interesting and all the soul charging the mechanics and stuff like that. But
I would say underrated, but overrated Link. That's the only thing that's overrated. Other than that,
I played Link.
I'm going.
everything else is
I'm
is
ignoring,
underrated.
I'm ignoring console specific characters. So yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I love Heihachi.
I always loved the
I
guest
love
characters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just find the game to always be something like I can always go to play. That's for fun. I never took it serious, so it was like, oh, friends get together, we just play it. But it wasn't like something I was like, oh, everybody's like hardcore, like kind of like Smash or anything like that. So definitely a fun game, just underrated.
Word. Soul Calibur 6. I remember we were playing the beta.
I want to say underrated.
Perfect.
Okay.
If I wasn't already like invested in tons of other games, like that's one game I could see myself taking like way more serious. Like Soul Caliburs in general just have always had like a childhood
Attachment,
spot with me. Same with like the Dead or Alive games. I don't really play them anymore, but like I definitely throughout my childhood definitely played it. I think all of them, including Soul Blade.
So
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the first one.
Like literally just played through them all. Like I've always touched all of them, and I would definitely have taken them more serious if I wasn't already dedicated to other fighting games.
Yeah. For me, overrated. I like it a lot. We had a huge start to the game, you and me, plural. Like, we played a lot. We played with a lot of great guys out here in the Northeast. But then I kind of waxed and waned with that game, and then I kind of came to the realization, for me, I like a lot of other 3D fighters a lot more. For a lot of different other reasons that I want to elaborate on for too long. But for me personally, I feel like it only suffers by comparison to other 3D fighting games.
Like, it's hard for me because I'm such a Tekken head, but like, I like Soul Calibur a lot, but it feels, the looseness of the game is for me a quote downfall for the game. So because of that, I feel like the game is it's definitely underrated because I know there's more to be explored there, but for me, it's just I couldn't really jump into it and stick with it like that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I found it to be actually right in the middle because it has the history already, and people really do like Soul Calibur. They just don't ever really fully commit and stick with it.
Okay.
It's just one of those pick it up, play it, enjoy it, move on with your life. Like it's just
Last
very
for a year for
yeah,
most
it's
people.
very much in the middle. As much as I would want to lean a little bit closer to underrated, I just think it's one of those games that people really just enjoy. They like the characters. They like this convoluted story that's there.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell is happening. But overall, it's just a balanced game. It's right in the middle.
Yeah, good. Fair. Street Fighter 4.
Underrated. Dude, I love that game was like the main game that really brought me to a serious level in FGC. Before that, I was in like high school or middle school playing like Mortal Kombat and Soul Calibur and whatever else was around. Dead or Alive, but never did I think of like I'm going to go take this serious and go to tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 was like, I'm taking this super serious and like I'm going to like get into this. Like, and that was the game that really hardcore brought me into the FGC.
Yeah.
Would not have met you guys. Without
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way we could short answer Street Fighter 4 because it's probably like in the sort of like Flashpoint sort of like looking at that way of life sort of situation.
Yeah.
The reason
That
why
moment.
why a lot of us know each other. I mean, a lot of us know each other because of fighting games, which is an interesting thing. Which is why this is like a cool subject to talk about. But yeah, specifically Street Fighter 4. Yeah. There's no way I could ever say it's overrated. Like, it's impossible. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, I would agree it's underrated. Like, just what that game did for everybody. Like, that game was literally the game, and when there was, like, a lull in fighting games, like, after Street Fighter 3.
a
And,
long
like,
lull.
yeah,
Like
and
a
Tekken
decade.
6.
Like, pretty much a decade, yeah.
Yeah.
But that game pulled people back. There's, like, just like Zhang said, like, that game pulled a lot of people back into the scene that like, thought their, like, time with fighting games are dead, and Street Fighter 4 revitalized a ton of people.
Yeah.
You know? And because of that, and they did a great job with that game. The game was super fun. Even going back now when we have all these new pretty games, and then we go back, it's like, why did we stop Street Fighter 4, man?
I will tell you right now, like, not to cut you off or to hold up Mezza, but like, I would rather play 4 than 5 still. Nothing wrong with 5, but personal preference at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I will always say I love Street Fighter 4. It has definitely taught me a lot. It is definitely not an underrated game. I almost want to say it was in the middle, but I know damn well it's an overrated game just through the aspect. And look, for me, I will always love this game. To me, it's an underrated game because I want people to play the game.
Why are you calling it overrated?
It's overrated, and strictly because there was a lot of hate for the game in aspects where people would be like, "I'm still gonna play it no matter what," and it just didn't feel like it was genuine at one point.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning to the middle point, I was like, people genuinely love this game. It is in the middle. It's a balanced game. But as it got towards the end, everybody was like,
updates,
they were like, it's overrated. This is happening. That's happening. I just
Hindsight's
I love
20/20.
it, personally.
Yeah, with that game, I'll tell you, I know what you're talking about. At the end of the game's life cycle, I know in my friend circle, people were way over it. But now, looking back, hindsight-wise, now, like, you know, however many years were 6+ years from the games, not the end, but the end of, like, you know, the beginning of 5. Now it was like, the golden A's and stuff like that, and hoo-ha. But and also for me, there's like a strange resurgence of that game that I've seen in other people.
Yeah, there's been always small little niches of
Yeah.
bring back Ultra. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like for me, when I went to Japan, that game was getting played. Like from the Japanese, we went to multiple arcades, me and Alex, and like, granted this was in 2019, pre-COVID, but like that game was like very popular. Still, that's just a fun fact from my own experiences. But moving on, all right, another sort of Street Fighter game, X-Men versus Street Fighter.
That also would be under that. All right. I'm going to try to keep it quick. Went to Ultra Zone for laser tag. I am 10 years old, and I see X-Men versus Street Fighter. Now I'm like,
weird.
holy fucking shit. X-Men versus Street, like, as a 10-year-old, and, you know, before crossovers were a thing, like, X-Men versus Street, yo, my brain exploded. And yeah, I did Wolverine Ryu. Dude, and that was like just bowling alleys and laser tag in general, because the Brunswick Zone also had Marvel vs.
Capcom.
Yeah. Oh man, you know.
Yeah, you
for,
get
for my
chucked-
junior.
My man's about to start crying. Seriously.
Yeah, it's
Because like it got me
Like-
my first girlfriend.
like we didn't think of it as a like an anime style or a different, like, it was just another fighting game. It was just a very different fighting game, a 2-on-2 fighting game. That's all it was. And oh man, just as a kid, like the idea of just having the X-Men and the Street Fighter cast beat each other up was like just overwhelming in itself, and it was a fun game.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I'm a 10-year-old kid. I'm not learning infinites or anything. I'm just having a good time, just beating each other up. And yeah, it's just a great childhood memory, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah, no, me too. I'll probably go underrated. Definitely not like the orgasmic, like, you know, memories that you had. Definitely super fun. Like, I had a friend of mine, I think eventually he got it on, like, a copy of it on the PlayStation, I want to say.
Yes.
I want to say that was the game. Yeah, I feel like I remember the square box. I remember the art for sure. I'm just not sure if it was like a Dreamcast or otherwise. But I played a console version of it. Very fun. And also, like, it was also in that time period you as well, where I was like you're allowed to do this, like, or with crossovers. So it definitely caught me at the beginning of that novelty, and I feel like it's definitely stuck in my head ever since. But it definitely been overshadowed by MVC since then, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But still, it was the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll still always love it. So it's underrated for me.
Like you're saying, it was the beginning of the crossover kind of era of games, you know. For me, I guess I'd say underrated as well.
Perfect.
I feel like if it was more, if I knew or played that game more when I was younger, I would appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Unlike Rob, apparently, I did not play that game all that much. I knew of it, I think, and then I didn't look at it again until Marvel vs. Capcom 1.
Yeah,
I played Marvel vs. Capcom 1 way more than that. So that, like, I feel like that kind of came out, I'm like, huh. And then, you know, by the time I, like, took the time to actually, oh, that's a thing, Marvel vs. Capcom came out. And then I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, let's play Marvel now.
All right.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Actually, I find this game very underrated.
Perfect.
It's what got me into playing versus games. So before
Okay.
I even knew what versus games were. So for me, X-Men versus Street Fighter does, like, kind of like how Zing does. It holds a dear part to my heart because that's what got me into playing, like, Marvel and sticking with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a Wolverine player at heart, but I will never touch that character ever again. Ever. I mean, I'm a
I
Magneto
feel like
player
a lot
now.
of people did
Hella
Wolverine
salty.
just because it was Wolverine. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
I mean, like,
you didn't pick
Yeah.
characters
It
based
was like,
on what they
oh,
could do. You picked
yeah.
them based on your favorites.
Wolverine? Ryu can be on the same team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't I?
Let's do like a quick. I'm gonna bang out, and I mean like quick, guys.
Alright,
like
just things.
a crossover count. Like I'm gonna name every crossover I can think of,
Okay.
and we're just gonna go through them real fast. So in that vein, Street Fighter cross Tekken.
I'd say overrated. Like, it kind of sucked at the end. And I stuck with it longer than everyone else did. And then in the end, I was like, alright, this kind of sucks.
Fair. Okay. I should have thought about this a little harder. I want to say overrated as well, only because I had expectations for that game to have a longer lifespan with fans. I feel like the depth might be there still, but I feel like it definitely did not live up to the expectations. Even though personally, I think I enjoy it more than the average bear.
Yeah, I think I'll also go with overrated. I mean, why play that game when you could play Street Fighter 4?
Yeah, that's
saying.
pretty much what it was.
Wait.
Obviously overrated as well. There was a lot lacking there, missing. Plus, they nerfed Sakura and got two characters I played for no reason.
And we're gonna ignore that.
Pandora box was
Pandora,
stupid, yeah.
and the
Like,
gems.
It's like,
or the
I'ma
gems.
just backdash until you die.
There's just a lot of problems with the game, and then the
Yeah.
way they released it, it was actually really overrated the way it was going. Plus the DLC being kind of
Yeah.
exploited. So yeah, very
All right,
overrated.
fair. CVS 2. Did you ever play it?
Nah,
I knew
don't
this was
really
gonna
have
be a
much
problem.
of it. Yeah, I don't have much of an opinion on it.
I'll put a big fucking X over your head. Underrated for me, but I didn't get enough of it. So it's kind of part of the reason why I think it's underrated, because my experience of it is kind of limited, but I still have a great appreciation for the game, the lore, and like also like watching it competitively.
I want to say underrated. I
Why?
played a lot of that game, and I really enjoyed that game. I couldn't like hang with the cool kids with that game because that game was an early game that pushed execution to its limit, kind of thing. When it came to Ager stuff, it really pushed it, and but then how it ended up. I'm not gonna talk about high level at this point, but you know.
Yeah,
If you know, you know.
It's
Yeah.
not much.
That little triforce of characters,
The selection.
100% underrated. I
Perfect.
f***ing wish everybody would play this game, but it's one of those games that nobody really even knew about unless you had a Dreamcast, and
Yeah.
if you were lucky enough to be graced with other people who played it.
Yeah.
So.
True. Blaze Blue Cross Tag.
I don't really have much of on that one.
I know that.
I know it's a good game, but yeah, I didn't really touch on it.
Overrated. I like Calamity Trigger better. I like other Blaze Blues better. Anyway.
I really can't wait on this. I've never played Cross Tag.
Damn, another. I'm gonna throw an X on you too.
Yeah.
It's
This is the resident Blaze Blue player for a while.
it's so hard. I gotta say overrated. It hurts
There
to
you
say
go.
that. It hurts. It hurts because it had everything bundled in what we wanted for a versus game. It was easy. It had depth. It just the developers. That's all
Yeah.
I'll say.
Okay.
Developers.
UMBC 3.
Underrated.
Perfect.
That game was a good time.
Yeah.
Just, you know, when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 first came back, it was like, yes, finally. And then a year later, Ultimate came.
Yeah, that was fast.
It was under a year, actually. I
7
think it was
months.
like
It was quick as
7 months?
7 months.
It was very
I
quick.
know it was quick. It was really quick. But dude,
I was confused.
that also, like, Street Fighter 4 brought, like, was the big one. And then Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was just the, come on guys, we're all playing fighting games. Like, now there's a Marvel for you again too. And yeah, it helped, during that time period, definitely helped bring, like, everyone back.
Yeah, like if Street Fighter was the earthquake, UMVC 3 was like the aftershock.
Yeah.
Like it just came afterwards, and it was
And it was great. Yeah.
oh, it's fantastic.
solid.
Yeah, so underrated for me too. I love it.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to call that game overrated. What that game did for like community is immense.
Also, let's say like copy paste Street Fighter 4 answer, but like
Yeah, I mean, straight up, man,
Yeah,
it really did do that, you know. And the game is fantastic. It's hella fun to play, like, and the execution levels are across the board where you can do what you want to do at your low level, or you can really dive in with the high execution stuff.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Oh, it's so underrated. You gotta understand, this is what really got me my start to playing like competitive overall for 5 years straight, traveling anywhere I could to play.
Yeah.
So this game, it just had everything. It had that old X-Men Street Fighter feel where we were like, turn it on, boot it up, MVC2, CBS2, any of those you think of it, that's all of it combined into one. In my head, I'm like, this is where it started. This is how I got that, like, let's go.
Fire.
And, like, everybody's like, let's go. And nobody was like, oh man, I just want to quit. Everybody's like, yo, you playing? You playing this week? What are we playing? We cracking out? That's the number one thing. We cracking out.
You can say 2 words. Everyone in FGC knows what happens.
Yeah.
When's Marvel?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna check the time
We're good.
real quickly. Where
I'm
we're
good.
at.
Damn, half an hour.
Jesus. All right. Cool. All right. Let's bang out the last few ones real quickly. And I mean fast as hell, because I knew we couldn't get through all these quickly. But I know that there's a few that I want to just say, because I know that you want to say. So I'll let you get it out of your system. Street Fighter 5.
See, I still love this game.
Quick,
I-
Rob.
Underrated. I love this game. This is the game that got me like more on a higher level of fighting games, where like I learned. Where 4, I was just Oki setups and bullshit. Like 5, I actually learned to play Street Fighter properly.
It's okay. He asked it. Overrated. I like 4 and Third Strike more than it, but I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate what it's done for you as my friend.
So I actually want to say underrated for this, just because it had kind of a flop drop.
Yes.
The game drop was pretty much a flop until later when they
Yeah.
fixed all the kinks, and they were like, oh, okay, this game's not too bad.
Yeah.
Some of the things that they've done mechanics-wise and across the board could be better, but it's okay. I still think there's more that it could do for people.
Overrated. As hell. Overrated.
But you still might play if you like.
No. It doesn't matter if I do.
If you
Doesn't
like
matter if I
Rose,
do.
You're gonna buy her.
I have this rule of thumb.
Dude.
Street Fighter 5 is the game where you go, man, I really like that character. I'm going to come back and play Street Fighter 5. 2 weeks later, man, why'd I do that to myself? This game sucks. That's everybody who does not play Street Fighter 5 at the highest level, or at least wants to be at the highest level. And on top of that, I do agree with Matt. The beginning, I loved everything aesthetically. I was like, this game's going to be sick. Alpha looks super sick. And as soon as they dropped it, I was like, what happened to everything else?
Yeah.
So Rose, Akira, Oro.
Or so far.
Yo, come on.
It does not.
Come on, dude.
It's still
I'm gonna say
overrated.
all those characters, and I feel like if you do well with one of those characters, you might really get back into it. Who knows how? All right.
Jeez, it's going to be a fucking great time to edit this. Tekken 7.
Underrated. Great game.
He's a good answer.
I'd say like of the FGC, like Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5 are like.
Total
main-
bias.
Alright, that's
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Underrated. It's probably my main game.
Yeah.
Right now, as of the last like 3 years, also, it's just that good.
Hell underrated. There's a reason why that game has like really held over the FGC during this time period.
Oh,
you know, like that's one of the games that's just staying up there and no one's dropping.
Yeah, I'm going to go with underrated. Is honestly, actually, physically the backbone of the FGC at the moment.
At the moment, yeah, I
At the
agree.
moment, there's nothing else. So
Injustice 1.
Underrated. Very good. Yo,
Yo, you attacking Rob's heart today, man.
and dude, Injustice 2.
he never had to get through this.
I went through 9 mains in Injustice 2 and just never felt the way I felt with Solomon Grundy. Solomon
Jesus.
Grundy had so much, and he was underrated, and that was my favorite NetherRealm game of all time. All right, I'm done.
All right.
Smallest violin.
I like it more than 2. It's
Yeah, it's better than 2.
underrated. Go balanced rating, but I think it's better than 2, and I like it a lot.
I'd probably say underrated as well. That game kind of hit some really good fond memories in my soul there. So
It's pretty balanced for me. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it because I didn't find my stride until Injustice 2, where Supergirl came into picture. So
Nah. That game's overrated, but we're not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna disagree.
Third Strike.
Third Strike, I'd say underrated. Like, it's similar to the whole Smash Melee thing, but it's better than Smash Melee. There's hardcore people that stick with it long term. It's a great, solid game.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's it.
Underrated. I think it's possibly like. It's hard to say objectively, but like I think that some people would call it the best fighting game of all time. Not for me. That's King of Fighters 13 right now. But yeah, underrated still.
I'm a huge Third Strike head. That is like, for me, that's the game that got me to buy a stick, learn how to make a stick. I can't tell you how many sticks I had because of that game. That was that game for me. That was the game. That is the reason I play fighting games. Not even kidding. That it's because of Third Strike, and that might be a reason I didn't too good in 11th grade. That's not important. The point is, Third Strike is underrated.
All right.
Definitely underrated. I couldn't say there wouldn't be any other game that's done what it's done and it's still kicking. How is it still working?
I know. All right.
That's it.
I don't think I could fit any more in. There's like another page to this goddamn list.
I'm surprised you don't got a meme one for us.
There's a couple meme ones in here, but I think that we'll call it there. You know what? One more. Why not? One more. Last one. Bushido Blade.
I knew this was coming.
Underrated. That was a very different, awesome time in my childhood of just like getting that one good slicing and
Slice it.
yeah, and it was the first game of its kind. I have great memories with it.
Fair enough.
We should still play it again.
Yeah, I remember we played it the one day, I think like on the mystery game tournament, and that was fun as shit. And it reminded me of that game.
Did not know there was combos and like moves, special move. Like
I removed 10 years. I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck?
the internet wasn't like it was when that game first came out. To just Google it, like
So
there literally was no Google during that time period.
GameWinners.com?
Count me out. I've never played.
What? You played one day?
No, I wasn't there that day. I wasn't there that day, so
all
I
right,
don't know.
whatever.
Jay,
Definitely underrated. I think it's what I love the style of the game. I'm a samurai ninja fanatic. I love all that crazy nonsense, and personally, I just think it was something that like you could actually say is kind of how most of the newer games are, where it's one and done, and you don't get that a lot. Kind of like dive kicks, stuff like that. So for me, being able to wield the sword and just seeing the clashing, I was like, oh man, it's so wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's in a whole new level. So
fair enough.
MKX would be a good one.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
thousands.
There's like a bunch in my head right now that we could probably do.
Yeah, he didn't say any King of Fighters.
I was waiting for 2002 to show up.
All
I'd
of
be
the King of
hella
Fighters.
underrated.
There's all of the Dead or Alives. There's all of the.
We have a billion games out there.
Mortal Kombat. There's Virtual Fighter.
Part 2?
There's like a bunch of games. Guilty Gear. We didn't even do that.
Yeah.
But this is already like 40 minutes long. So maybe we'll do a part 2.
Okay.
Another time.
Maybe.
But that's all we'll do for this time. So if you made it this long, thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you guys had fun. I hope that you, if you guys had different opinions or if you agree, disagree, whatever the case, do all the fun stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you guys had fun, thank you so much for watching. I kind of repeated myself there, but it. Have a good day. Have a good life. We'll see you next time.